Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries Chanel. Today, the BTS fandom world was rocked again with an unexpected moment that shocked the entire timeline. A small but very significant incident occurred between two BTS members, Jungkook and Jimin, which immediately created a stir among ARMY, especially Jikook fans. In a moment caught on camera, Jungkook seemed to do something surprising while Jimin just froze. He didn't move, didn't react, just stared blankly, full of meaning, but confusing. This moment happened so fast. In a recording that was spread on social media, Jungkook was seen doing something unusual, whether it was a spontaneous movement, a funny statement, or maybe a facial expression that was very typical of him, and Jimin's reaction was frozen. As if time stopped. He just stared, without a smile, without a word. But that's what made everything feel big. Because in Jimin's silence, there are 1,000 meanings that are now the subject of speculation for the entire fanbase. Some fans argue that Jimin might have been too shocked or even emotionally touched by what Jungkook did. His blank stare was not just a surprise, but a kind of admiration that could not be hidden. That stare seemed to say a lot, even without a single word being spoken. Especially if you look at his blank facial expression, but his eyes seemed to speak as if the outside world disappeared and only Jungkook was left in his sight. There are also those who say that this might be an internal moment between the two of them, which cannot be explained with ordinary logic. Only Jimin and Jungkook know what really happened behind that stare. But precisely because of that, this moment becomes such an interesting mystery. Many clips were re-edited, enlarged, slowed down just to capture the subtle cues in Jimin's facial expression. Every breath, every blink of an eye, became clues analyzed by fans like detectives. Some ARMYs call it the stare that shook the fandom. And it's true. After the video went viral, Twitter and TikTok timelines were filled with analysis, reactions, and compilations of similar moments between Jimin and Jungkook. Many linked it to their past interactions, and built theories that this incident was not a coincidence but the culmination of something bigger. Is this a sign that their relationship is deepening? Or is it just a reflection of their long-standing closeness? But let's pause for a moment and dig deeper, because that blank stare, captured in just a few seconds of footage, has now become a global phenomenon in the BTS universe. Why? Because for the people who've followed Jikook for years through concerts, behind-the-scenes videos, interviews, and live streams, that moment didn't stand alone. It was a continuation, a whisper from the past resurfacing quietly but intensely into the present. Many fans began comparing this frozen moment with previous ones, like that time during Bon Voyage, when Jungkook helped Jimin with something simple, passing a drink, sharing a laugh, and Jimin just looked at him with the same unreadable intensity. Or that moment backstage during the Love Yourself era, when Jimin paused mid-sentence just because Jungkook walked past him. That soft smile lingering on his lips, the subtle pull of his gaze, it was déjà vu. In those moments, Jimin wasn't just reacting to Jungkook. He was absorbing him. And maybe that's what happened again today. Not a blank stare, but a moment of stillness when someone you care about does something so unexpectedly real, it catches your breath. One fan commented, "It's like Jimin saw a part of Jungkook that the world doesn't usually get to see. And for that second, he was overwhelmed by it." And another wrote, "We always think of Jungkook as strong, confident, and sometimes playful. But what if, in that moment, he showed a little vulnerability? A flash of emotion?" And Jimin froze because he knew exactly what that meant. The beauty of this moment lies not in the mystery, but in the intimacy. Jimin didn't need to smile. He didn't need to react the way we expected, because he wasn't performing for the camera. He was simply there, present in a second that perhaps only he and Jungkook fully understood. Some fans, particularly those who followed Jikook's journey for years, began dissecting their history like a love story written in glances. One popular thread on Twitter highlighted the evolution of their eye contact from shy and brief, to long and heavy, to moments like this, where a single look could carry the weight of 1,000 conversations left unspoken. Jimin's stare was not cold, someone posted. It was warm, it was soft, it was stunned. Like when you suddenly realize that the person next to you means more than you thought, even if you've known them for a lifetime. What makes this moment so unforgettable isn't just the silence, it's the feeling that poured through it. The electricity between them, the quiet stillness that screamed louder than any words could. What was Jungkook doing that made Jimin freeze? Some speculate, especially Jimin's, others say Jungkook might have done something bold, a wink, a spontaneous smile, or even just stood up for Jimin in a subtle way, in front of others. The fandom is no stranger to analyzing their body language. And in this case, the clues are everywhere. The position of their hands, the slight shift in Jimin's posture, the flutter in his eyes, even if his face remained unreadable. And of course, this sparked a flood of fan theories. Some fans believe this might be related to something happening behind the scenes, something we'll never be told directly. Perhaps emotions building up between them, and this was the moment they both felt it hit the surface. Maybe something happened before the camera rolled. A whisper, a gesture, a shared memory, so when the world looked, all they saw was Jimin staring. But what Jimin saw, maybe, was love. This incident, as small and fleeting as it was, is a reminder that love, whatever form it takes, doesn't always need grand gestures. Sometimes it's a blank stare, a held breath, pause in time, and it's in those pauses that we find the real emotions. Jimin may never explain what he was feeling. Jungkook may never tell us what he did, but we saw it, we felt it, and in a way that's more powerful than any confession. Whatever it is, one thing is for sure, there are no small moments when it comes to Jikook. Even a blank stare can create a storm, and today, that storm came in the form of Jimin's silence in front of Jungkook. An emotional scandal that needed no words to silence the world. Armies flooded the comments with sentences like, Jimin looks at Jungkook like he's his whole world. There's something unspoken between them, and this just proved it again. That look, it wasn't an ordinary look. It was a look of love. We may never truly know what was behind that look. But today, we witnessed something extraordinary. Something that can only be created by a genuine and deep connection. And for now, the world can only stare back fixated, just like Jimin at Jungkook's inexplicable charm. And that was it. A simple yet heart-shaking moment that reminded us once again how deep and mysterious the relationship between Jimin and Jungkook is. Behind that blank stare, there are a million stories that only the heart can understand. We may not know for sure what happened, but we can all feel that it was not just a coincidence. Thank you for watching and experiencing this moment with us in Jikook Diaries, a place where even silent love has a strong voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss other Jikook moments that can appear at any time. See you in the next video, because their story is not over yet, and we will continue to be there to watch it together. Purple heart sparkles.